In February 2020, in Winter Park, Florida, Sarah Boone and her boyfriend, Jorge Torres, were drinking and playing a twisted game of hide-and-seek. Jorge climbed into a suitcase as a joke. Sarah zipped it shut, then left him inside for hours. Heartbreaking audio captured Jorge begging Sarah, "I can't breathe," while she taunted him on video. He suffocated slowly overnight. What started as drunken fun ended in a horrifying death. This is the disturbing Suitcase murder case that shocked America. The apartment in Winter Park was quiet that Sunday evening, February 23rd, 2020. Sarah Boone, 42, and Jorge Torres Jr., also 42, had spent the day like many others in their on-again, off-again relationship, drinking. One bottle of wine between them, enough to loosen inhibitions, but not yet blur everything, and their relationship had been volatile for years. Police reports documented mutual accusations of battery, strangulation, and domestic calls. Jorge had been arrested multiple times for alleged violence against Sarah. She had once been charged with battery by strangulation, but the case was dismissed. They bailed each other out, fought, reconciled, and repeated the cycle. Texts exchanged in the months prior painted a picture of simmering resentment, angry messages where Sarah vented frustration, sometimes hinting at wanting space or getting rid of him, though none directly foreshadowed the night's horror. That evening, however, the mood seemed playful at first. They decided to play hide-and-seek, a childish game turned reckless by alcohol and familiarity. Jorge, slender and weighing just 103 pounds, he spotted the old suitcase in the living room. It was the kind you'd see at airport carousels, hard shell, medium-sized, with a zipper that ran along the edge. He laughed, climbed in, folding his body into the cramped space like it was a prank. Sarah, giggling, watched him settle. The exact moment things changed came seconds later. What had been a joke, two adults horsing around, shifted when Sarah's hands moved to the zipper. She pulled it shut, sealing him inside. The laughter didn't stop immediately. Witnesses would later hear from the videos that both sounded amused at first. But the zipper's teeth locked with a final irreversible click. Jorge was trapped. The suitcase now a coffin in waiting on the floor of their shared home. Sarah didn't unzip it right away. Instead, she reached for her phone, and the first video began recording around 11 p.m. The footage, later recovered by police and played in court, captured the horror in stark clarity. Jorge's voice, muffled but urgent, came from inside the dark confines. "Sarah." He repeated her name like a lifeline. She stood over the suitcase, phone in hand, filming downward. Her voice carried a mocking edge. "That's my name, don't wear it out," she replied, laughing. Jorge shifted, the suitcase rocking slightly as he pressed against the fabric and zipper from within. "Sarah, I can't breathe." His tone had changed, playful to pleading. Sarah's response was cold, deliberate. "Yeah, that's what you do when you choke me." She referenced past fights where he had allegedly grabbed her throat. Then she escalated. "For everything you've done to me, fuck you. Stupid." The taunt hung in the air, her words laced with years of accumulated grievances, cheating accusations, arguments, the push and pull of their toxic bond. Jorge begged again, his breathing labored. "Sarah, I can't breathe, babe." "That's on you," she shot back. "Oh, that's what I feel like when you cheat on me." She laughed once more, the sound chilling against his desperation. The video captured his frantic movements, the suitcase bulging as he tried to push outward, his voice growing strained. He wasn't screaming in rage. He was gasping, calling her name over and over in a cycle of hope and panic. About 11 minutes later, Sarah recorded a second video. The suitcase had been flipped onto its side during the struggle, then righted again. Jorge's pleas continued, weaker now. The audio showed him still fighting for air, repeating Sarah like a mantra, but his words slurred with exhaustion and oxygen deprivation. She didn't help. She didn't unzip. She didn't call for assistance or even pause the recording to reconsider. Instead, she left the suitcase zipped tight on the living room floor and went upstairs to bed. She later claimed she forgot about him, that alcohol clouded her memory, that she fell asleep assuming he could free himself. Forensic evidence and the videos told a different story. She had chosen to walk away while he was still conscious and begging. Downstairs, alone in the darkness, Jorge's last moments unfolded in silence, broken only by his own fading struggle. The suitcase was not airtight, but its confined space trapped carbon dioxide and limited fresh air. At 103 pounds, Jorge was small enough to fit, but the position curled, compressed, Ickes unable to expand his chest fully, made breathing torturous. Medical examiners would later determine he suffocated over roughly 11 hours, his body slowly shutting down as oxygen levels dropped. No one knows the precise second he lost consciousness. The videos captured him alert and vocal for at least the first 20 minutes or so after being zipped. After that, the recording stopped, and Sarah was gone. He likely continued calling out for a while longer, his voice weakening to whispers, then silence. Panic gave way to dizziness, then blackout. His heart, starved of oxygen, eventually stopped. He died alone, curled inside the very suitcase he had climbed into as a joke. Upstairs, Sarah slept through the night. No frantic 911 call, no attempt to check on him. And the final texts and calls of the case weren't from Jorge. He had no phone access inside the zipped luggage. His final communication was the raw recorded audio of his pleas, captured not by him but by the woman who sealed his fate. Earlier text messages between them that day or in the preceding weeks showed the relationship's fractures. Sarah's messages often angry, accusing, sometimes referencing their games or fights in ways that hinted at resentment. But nothing in those exchanges prepared for this. Jorge's last words weren't typed. They were gasped. "Sarah, I can't breathe." Morning came on February 24th. Sarah woke, went downstairs, and opened the suitcase. What she found was Jorge's lifeless body. Around 1 p.m., she dialed 911. The call was calm, almost matter of fact. "My boyfriend is dead," she told the dispatcher. "Okay," she explained the game. They had drunk 1 bottle of wine, played hide and seek, thought it would be funny for him to get in the suitcase. They were both laughing, she said. She went to bed and accidentally fell asleep. When she checked in the morning, he was gone. Paramedics arrived and confirmed. Jorge Torres Jr. was dead, still inside the suitcase where she had left him. Police responded quickly. Sarah handed over her phone voluntarily during the on-scene investigation. Detectives soon discovered the 2 videos. In her initial statements to officers at the scene and later at the station, Sarah stuck to the drunken accident story. She claimed she didn't remember recording the videos, blaming blackouts from the wine. She swore the suitcase had been left partially unzipped so he could escape. "I would never hurt him," she insisted, and even swearing on her son's life. But the footage contradicted everything. Jurors would later watch it in court. Her laughter, her taunts referencing choking and cheating, his desperate repeated cries of "Sarah" and "I can't breathe." The autopsy confirmed homicide by suffocation. Jorge's small frame had been no match for the prolonged confinement. Forensic analysis of the videos and phone data showed the recordings were made that night, not fabricated later. The exact moment things changed from prank to punishment wasn't captured on film, but it was evident in her decision to zip, film, taunt, and abandon him. Prosecutors argued it wasn't fear or forgetfulness, it was deliberate. She had left him there to terrorize him for past wrongs, letting him suffer until death claimed him. The case shocked the nation when details emerged, and what began as a couple's boozy game ended with one zipped inside a suitcase, begging for air while the other filmed and mocked. Sarah Boone was charged with second-degree murder. Her defense leaned on battered spouse syndrome, claiming years of abuse left her terrified and reactive. She testified that she zipped him out of fear for her life, that his threats in the suitcase, none audible on video, justified her actions. But the video's texts and timeline dismantled that narrative. The jury saw the taunting, heard the pleas, and rejected the self-defense claim. On October 25, 2024, after less than 2 hours of deliberation, they convicted her of second-degree murder. On December 2, 2024, she was sentenced to life in prison. In the quiet of that Winter Park apartment, the last moments of Jorge Torres Jr. were not dramatic or cinematic, but yet they were slow, claustrophobic, and heartbreakingly ordinary in their horror. A man who had climbed into a suitcase for a laugh spent his final hours fighting for breath, calling the name of the woman he loved and feared. Sarah Boone's final act that night wasn't a call for help or a text of remorse. It was turning off the lights and going to sleep upstairs while downstairs. The suitcase held a dying man. The videos remain the haunting record, his voice fading, her laughter ringing out. The exact moment a game became murder captured forever in pixels and audio. The suitcase murder case didn't just shock America because of the method. It horrified because of the intimacy. The boyfriend she once bailed out of jail, the partner in their toxic dance, reduced to begging inside luggage while she documented his suffering. Final texts from their volatile history lingered in evidence logs, but the true last words were spoken in gasps. "Sarah, I can't breathe." She never unzipped. He never got out. And the nation watched the evidence unfold, realizing how quickly a joke can turn fatal when resentment overrides humanity.